All right, are you with me? Everybody tuned in? Adjust the volume. The Tzaddik Gamor, says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, his yard site is tomorrow night, Friday. The yard site, Yom Hilul of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Some say it's his birthday as well. Another version is, the official version is his birthday is Shavuos. The story how he was born. His mother was barren. She could not have children. Did I tell you the story yesterday? Yes, but his father dreamed that he was in a forest and there was this angel was pouring water in his room, pouring water on the trees from a pitcher. And he was standing by a tree that had no leaves, no branch, no fruit, nothing. And the angel pulls out a little phial, little tiny bottle, and pours it at the roots, at the base of the tree where Rabbi Yochai is standing. The father of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Yochai is standing there. He's a descendant of Yehuda, the fourth son of Yaakov, from the royal family. That's the royal family of our people, it's the tribe of Yehuda. He's a direct descendant. And he's standing on the tree. The water, a little bit of water spreads out all over, and the tree begins to grow, and leaves and fruit, everything comes up, and he wakes up with words of Hallel on his lips. Praise be Hashem, Eim Habanim Samecha, the mother of children will rejoice in her offspring. And he knows that this is a dream that his wife is going to have children, but what was that little vial? And she says, let's go to the Rebbe. They go to the Rebbe to ask. The Rebbe is Rabbi Akiva. That's his Rebbe. Rabbi Akiva says, you're right. You understand the dream correctly. He says, but what was your wife is going to have a child this year. And he says, well, what was that little vial? He said, the pitcher that the angel was watering all the trees with was their blessing to have children. Your wife has no blessing for children. She can't have children. But that little vial is the tears. Hashem collected every tear that she shed when she was praying to have a child, and that you should not divorce her because she was barren. And that was what the water that was poured out. So it shows the power of her tefillahs. She was a direct descendant of King David, his wife Sarah. And their child was born. They called him Rabbi Shimon. They called him Shimon because Hashem was Shomeya. Hashem heard their prayers. Okay, last night there was a Farbrengen. Someone told a story of Rabbi Weiss, the the head of the Beis Din in Manchester, that he was born, he was a child genius. Before the Second World War, he was born, and everybody knew what a genius he was. His parents, a shadchan, suggested, you know what a shadchan is for sure, right? A matchmaker, suggested a shidduch with a girl from a village, from a town, another different town, who she assured them was perfect match for such a genius of a son that they had. The mother went to check out to meet the child. The son was fine. He did what he was told. He was a little boy. They got married young in those days. And the mother went to meet the proposed bride, and she realized she was a very simple girl. She was not the proper shidduch for a son, a genius. She came back, she told her husband and said, we have to break the shidduch. And her son said, Mommy, I'm not breaking the shidduch. I don't allow. She said, why not? He said, well, listen, if this is my intended bride, we'll have a happy life. And if not, Divorce is part of the Torah. In the Talmud, divorce comes before marriage. The tractate on divorce comes before the tractate on getting married. So we'll work it out one way or the other. But if you break the shidduch now, you'll break her heart. And you can't do that. You cannot break the heart. She'll be humiliated. She's a Jewish girl, you can't do that. And so the mother agreed, and they got married, and they had a child, and then came the Holocaust, and she did not survive. He did, and the child did, and she did not. Eventually, he made his way to England. He became the chief rabbi of Manchester. He was brilliant, yeah. And he remarried. And he wanted to have children. He couldn't have children. So he went to one of these, clinics to help people to have children. And the doctor told him, Rabbi, I'm sorry to tell you, but you cannot biologically ever have children.
Is this the son or the father?
It's the doctor.
No.
This little boy who married the girl because he didn't want to embarrass and humiliate the Jewish girl.
And now he can't have children.
And now she died in the war, in the Holocaust. She was killed, and he's left with the child. And he remarries. He wants to have more children. He cannot. The doctor says he can't. It's biologically impossible for you to have children. So he says, if you have a child, that's a miracle. That's not normal. There's no way you can have children. And he realized that the reason he merited to have a child was because he had Rahmanas, compassion for a Jewish girl, not to humiliate her by breaking the shidduch. Interesting story corresponding to the whole story of Sarah. Sarah, the mother of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, interestingly enough, named after Sarah Imenu, who had the same experience. Sarah Imenu also could not have children. As could Hannah, the mother of Shmuel Hanavi, the mothers of these great, outstanding personalities in Jewish history. Yitzchak, father of the Jewish people, right? And Shmuel, who was as great as Moshe and Aaron combined. His mother was Hannah, who's also buried in Sfas, very near Rabbi Shimon. And the mother of Rabbi Shimon, all three women were barren. Rachel Imenu was also barren. So many of the most important people in our Jewish history, Hashem puts them through the loops. And it makes it very hard for them to have children. I guess the Yetzer Hara mixes in, doesn't want the souls of these great tzaddikim to come into the world. Okay, so we were discussing yesterday on page 158, but with respect to all these things, that the complete tzaddik says this same Rabbi Shimon that we're talking about, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who revealed the greatest secrets of the whole creation and the secrets of the Torah. And we have them all through him. And he says, I've seen the great tzaddikim, masters of Aliyah. Why are they called masters of Aliyah? Because they transform evil into good, and they elevate it and bring it into holiness. They schlep it out. They schlep these sparks of holiness that are in the clutches of the forces of evil, called the external forces, and he redeems them and brings them home and reunites them with Hashem. And we were talking yesterday about the powers of tshuva to transform. That tshuva can transform transgressions like they didn't happen, and a deeper tshuva can transform things that were nothing special into positive mitzvahs. And a deeper tshuva can transform actual transgressions into accidental transgressions, things you did by accident, not on purpose. And a deeper tshuva still can transform things that you did out of anger and bitterness against Hashem, can be transformed, all those stages, as if they were accidents, or as if they didn't even happen, or as if they were mitzvahs, or as if they were great accomplishments. That's how great tshuva is. And why is that so? Why is it so? You can understand why very obviously. Because the deep regret that a person has when his godly soul kicks in full force and he realizes what it means in his heart that the reality of God and that he's going against him, his heart is filled with bitterness, that he alienated himself from his own source. And he's so bitter about it that the bitterness motivates him. It becomes the driving force of everything he does, so that the bitterness becomes part of the mitzvah. And that's how tshuva takes the most negative things and elevates them and makes them overwhelmingly positive. You understand? Michal, you understand what I'm saying? It's a word here, a word there. Ariel, you speak Spanish. You explain to her.
Yeah.
Okay. After class, you'll explain to her this concept. Very important concept. You know what it's like, you see, when you take a balloon and you blow up a balloon, you know, they have these long balloons. You have this long balloon where you're holding. I'm holding a long balloon now. It's full of air. I'm holding one end, I'm holding the other end, the air can't get out. Now, if I'm gonna let go of this balloon, what's gonna happen? All the air is gonna go gushing out, right? Like that. Yeah. What makes the balloon go like this is all the things that you put into it. So similarly, when a person does tshuva, all the negative things that he did become the driving force that transforms the negative into the positive. It transforms them into the actual service of Hashem. Okay, so that's the complete tzaddik is called the master of Aliyah because he transforms the negative into positive. And similarly, in the introduction to the Zohar, which is written by Rabbi Shimon, it tells a story about a great colleague of Rabbi Shimon from a generation later, named Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia was a great, great teacher of the Torah. He could actually revive people who were killed and bring them back to life. He was a tremendous person, one of the great scholars who gave over the teachings of the oral Torah to us. He was a colleague of Rabbi Yehuda the Prince. Okay, they were colleagues. And he wanted, it says in the introduction to the Zohar, the story about him that he wanted to go up, he had an aliyah of the soul, an elevation of the soul, a vision, a spiritual vision, and he wanted to go to Rabbi Shimon, to the chamber where he is found in the world to come. And he heard a voice come out. Rabbi Chia heard a voice come out that said, anybody who wants to come here, you need to have you need the qualification. The qualification is that you have to transform darkness into light and bitterness into sweetness. And if you can't do that, you can't come here. So that's the level that we're talking about of the tzaddik gomer, not the tzaddik sheina gomer. We learned about that's the incomplete tzaddik. We have tens of thousands of them. I wouldn't say there are a dime a dozen, but there are tens of thousands. But the tzaddik gomer, to get to the level of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, you have to be able to transform darkness into light and bitterness into sweetness. That's the deepest, deepest level of tshuva. Page 119, there it is. But before coming here, you have to convert the darkness of the world to light of holiness and bitter taste of the animal soul and the evil inclination to sweetness of the godly soul. And only then may you enter. Who was Rabbi Chia? It says in the Talmud, great was the, now listen carefully, this is your introduction to Rabbi Chia. You want to know this. Who was Rabbi Chia? The Talmud says about Rabbi Chia, he lived 2,000 years ago. He wrote two of the great collections of oral law that we have. They're often brought various places through the Talmud. It says, great was the deeds of Rabbi Chia, which he ensured single-handedly that Torah would never be forgotten from Israel, because he lived at a time after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, when the Jewish people were being terribly persecuted, and it was impossible for them to sit and learn, and that was the idea, that they should not be able to learn, and therefore they would cease to exist. They would go out of existence, just like the Germans wanted to destroy all the houses of learning and all the scholars of the Jewish people, and without knowledge, the Germans and the Russians, and under the communists, if Jews can't learn, they don't remain Jewish. And we see that unfortunately, they have been extremely successful, because we have masses of great numbers today of the Jewish people who know nothing about Judaism, and many of them marry non-Jewish women, so their children aren't Jewish anymore. That's it, that's the end. The end of the line, the 3,000-year-old line, comes to a complete stop. And communities that verblunget are wandering in darkness, not knowing what it means to be Jewish and what you're supposed to do to be Jewish, or how to be Jewish. And the great leaders of our generation are fighting with tooth and nail to rescue every Jewish neshama wherever it may be, and bring it back into the fold to reverse the evil deeds of the communists and of the Germans. Yamach Shemam. Okay, so what did Rabbi Chia do? Rabbi Chia made sure the Torah would never be forgotten. He lived at a similar time when the Romans were doing that. They killed all the sages, all the teachers. They closed all the houses of learning. What did Rabbi Chia do? He went out and he trapped deer. No, before that, he went out and he plowed a field. And people said, oh, hello, Chana, and hello, Chana, and hello, Liora.
Hello, Rabbi. Nice to hear
Hello,
you.
Vera. We have a lot of people online today. There, Chana Sternberg just showed herself. Good morning, everybody. He went and he plowed a field, and people wondered, what is Rabbi Chia doing plowing the field? He's not a farmer, he's a sage. He's a great teacher. But he planted flax. You know what flax is? Make linen. Linen is very fibrous, it's strong. To make flax into linen is a very difficult process. It's like making wine, but it's very strenuous. To separate the fibers and to make them into threads, and it's very hard on the skin. And that's what he did. He processed the flax and he made linen. And from the linen fibers, he made nets, ropes. And from the ropes, he wove nets. And people said, what's Rabbi Chia doing? Why isn't he in the yeshiva teaching? And then he took the nets and he went out hunting. And he hunted deer. What's Rabbi Chia doing hunting deer? He hunted deer, he caught them. He slaughtered them. He koshered them. He gave them meat to poor people. And he took the skin and he treated the skin. He worked the skin and made it into parchment. What is Rabbi Chia doing? People wonder what's going on with Rabbi Chia. This took years. He sat down and he wrote all of the 5 books of the Torah on the parchment that he made himself with his own 2 hands. And he wrote down the 6 orders of the Mishnah. And then he set off. and he traveled to the boondocks where Jewish people lived, where there were no teachers and no communities, and the people were living in ignorance because there was nobody to teach them. And he took 5 boys, and he taught each one of the 5 boys one of the 5 books of the Torah, until each one of them knew the whole book well. And then he said, now teach it to your friends. Now each one has to teach the others. And the sages said, wow. He is the greatest sage of all. Everybody said, what is Rabbi Chia doing? They said, great is what Rabbi Chia has done. Great are the deeds of Rabbi Chia, that he ensured that Torah would never, ever be forgotten in Israel. Because if we're in a situation where we don't have access to yeshivas, we don't have books, we don't have teachers, we don't have anything, and a person could say, well, what could I do? I didn't have what to teach with. Rabbi Chia will come and say, with my own 2 hands, I did it. I didn't have books. I didn't have any of the resources. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have the yeshivas, but we taught the Chumash to 5 boys, and these 5 boys could teach 5 more boys. And that's how Torah was preserved. And that's why we're all here today, because that's what's kept our people going. That's our story. Okay, we're on page 159. So that's what it means, a master of ascent. And this is Rabbi Chia. Now you've been introduced to Rabbi Chia, and you've been introduced to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We're setting off on another tack. For those of you who sail, you know what that means, to set on another tack. It's going to go in different directions. Winds are going to come from a different direction. We're going to change the sails. Another reason for the term B'nai Aliyah. The first reason, why are they called master of ascent? Because they convert sins into mitzvahs. They elevate darkness and bring it into the realms of holiness, which are light. Another reason they're called B'nai Aliyah, page 159, is because there are 2 directions, 2 paths of the service of God. One is, they are expressed by King David in Tehillim: turn away from evil and do good. Turn away from evil and do good. Like in Egypt, before the Jewish people could leave Egypt, they needed to have some merit. Why were they? The Egyptians worshipped idols, and the Jewish people worshipped idols. And the angel said, why are you, Hashem, saving them and drowning the Egyptians? What merit do they have? So Hashem said, I have to give them a merit that they should deserve to come out of Egypt. What was the merit? He told them, take a lamb and tie it to their bedposts, and after 4 days, slaughter it. So when they tied the lamb was the god of Egypt. In the spring, the sign in astrological sign at that time is the lamb, and the Egyptians worshiped the lamb. In other words, they prayed to this sign, that this sign should shine upon them from heaven and bless them with everything they need. So they took the representative of this sign, the lamb, and they tied it. And when you tie a lamb to your bedpost, the lamb makes in the house, and it also says, bah, bah, bah. So the Egyptians heard this lamb and they said, what's going on? They said, oh, that's the lamb. We're going to slaughter that lamb. You can't slaughter that lamb. That's our God. He said, yeah, you want to stop me? The Jewish people said, yes. You want to stop me? Stop. Yeah. Okay. You're going to stop me? And they got scared. So that took courage. The Jewish people had to turn away from idol worship. The lamb was the idol that they worshiped. They had to turn away from it. And they had to do good. What was to do good? They had to had to have matzahs. They had to slaughter the lamb and have matzahs and eat the lamb chops with the matzahs. So they had to do and turn away from the negative and do positive. These are the two paths of the service of God. Turn away from evil and do good. Stop eating non-kosher food and light Shabbos candles. Turn away from bad and do good. Okay? So similarly, in this path of doing good, the first path is to take the evil and transform it and make it good. Now, the other side of the coin is just to do good. So it says here that the completely righteous person is called a master ascent because of the manner in which he does good. Mipenei, page 159 in the middle, second Hebrew lines. Because the service of these great tzaddikim in the path of doing good, the way they learn Torah, the way they do mitzvahs, is not for their own. You see, a person could learn Torah and do mitzvahs for the wrong reasons. What kind of reasons would be wrong reasons? Can you think? How can you learn Torah for the wrong reason? Torah is holy. How can you learn Torah for the wrong reason? For recognition, for honor. You become a big rabbi. You get a job. You get a job. I don't want to be a plumber, although plumbers do. You know, there was a guy needed a plumber in his home, and the plumber was there for an hour, and he charged him $500. He said, $500? I'm a lawyer. I don't earn that kind of money. The plumber said, yeah, I know. I used to be a lawyer too.
No, the trade jobs, they make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money, right? So a person says, I want to be a rabbi. I'm not good at being a plumber. I'll be a rabbi. So that's learning for the wrong reason. You have to learn the Torah because it's Hashem's Torah. So learn it for its own sake. Or a person could learn Torah because he knows that if his daughter, he wants to marry off his daughter, and if he's not going to learn Daf Yomi, not going to learn Talmud every day with the rabbi, then nobody's going to want to marry his daughter. Or his daughter might say, if I don't participate in the Torah learning classes, I'm not going to get a good shidduch. So she'll learn Torah in order to get a good shidduch. After she gets married, I'm married now. I got to take care of the kids. I got to take care of the house. And she doesn't have time for the classes. Then the women make a big gathering for Lag BaOmer. I'm tired of it. She doesn't. So you have to learn the Tzaddik Omer. He doesn't learn for the Ra. He learns only mitzvahs for the sake of Hashem. Because it's Hashem's Torah, that's enough reason for him to learn. He doesn't need any other reason. He doesn't want any other reason. There's a story, there was a person, Rabbi Yossi ben Pazi. Word Hebrew, Paz means gold. He's called Ben Pazi. It bothered him. He was very poor, and his poverty bothered him. He was upset that he was so poor. And he told his Rebbe, this is 2,000 years ago, the story's in the Talmud. He told his Rebbe that it's very distracting to him thinking the whole time of how poor he is, and he has no money for his family. And what should he do? He can't concentrate in his learning. So he says, I'll see what I can do. Came a rich man. He had been a great Torah scholar, but he left his learning and he went into business, and he became very rich, very successful. But it bothered him that he was no longer learning Torah. So he came back to his Rebbe and he said, what should I do? I don't learn anymore. I'm so preoccupied with the business. I have no time to learn. He says, I have an idea for you. I have a student who would like to have money. He has no money, but he learns very, very well. How about if you give him money to live on, and you will have the merit of his learning? In other words, whatever merit he has for learning Torah will go to you because you're supporting him. He says, sounds good to me. Good deal. And they make a contract that he pays the student, and the merit of his learning goes to this guy. And so he learned, and he became a great scholar. He became a big Rebbe. in his own right. And eventually the Torah that he learned, it began to sink in, it began to kick in, and he realized that he had no merit for the Torah that he learned. He'd given it all away for the money. He'd sold it all. And he went back to his he says, Rabbi, I want out of the deal. I want Hashem's Torah because I want Hashem. I don't like the idea that I gave away all the merit that I have for all the years and hours of learning that I put in. I have nothing to show for it. So Rebbe says, okay, you can back out now at this point. And so he was called Rabbi Yossi ben Pazi because of the gold, means he's the son of gold. Ben Pazi is a nickname. He was called Ben Pazi because he's the son of gold, because it was because of the gold that he became a great scholar. So that's called learning for the wrong reason. He learned for the gold and not because it was Hashem's Torah. And then he regretted it. And then he had to do it all over again. Okay, I suppose. So he learned the tzaddik. Another reason that tzaddik is called a master of ascent is because everything he does, his learning of Torah, is not for the gold. It's not for a shidduch. It's not that he should have a wonderful wife. It's not that he should be a big rabbi in the community. It's not, there's a story, it's a humorous story, that there was a certain chassid of the Alter Rebbe. His family were not Hasidim. And he went away to learn by the Alter Rebbe. And he came back after, he'd been there for about a year. The Rebbe said, Pesach is coming, you should go home to your family for Pesach. He went home to his family. His father said, you have to go to pay your respects to the Rav. So there's been a little village. There may be 20 families in the village, right? You have to go pay your respects to the rabbi. So he went to the rabbi. He says, what, you went to the Alter Rebbe, to the Hasidim. What are they? What's it like there? What's it like? Oh, he says, they learn very, very beautifully. They learn wonderfully. They learn with great fear of Hashem and great love of Torah and mitzvahs. They do everything with warmth and sincerity. And he says, in the Alter Rebbe, what kind of person is he? He says, oh, he's a big tzaddik. So the Rav says, a big tzaddik, does he have a cow? It's hard to understand that question. Does he have a cow? Jews were very poor. And if you were a wealthy person, you had a cow because the cow would give you milk and you could survive, you could live. If you had some chickens and a cow, you were okay. So if you were smart enough to become a Rav and a Kehillah, they would give you a cow. So he asked about the Alter Rebbe, does he have a cow? Okay, so this is what it means to serve God for an ulterior motive. You have the shidduch to get a good job, for the recognition, so they'll honor you at the dinner, the Chabad house dinner. No, the master of ascent, it says, page 159 at the bottom, they are not serving God for any ulterior motive. They're not even learning Torah in order to cling to God. They're learning Torah just because it's Hashem's Torah. Because, to serve God, because you want to be connected to God, is also a selfish motive. That's also an ulterior motive. My mother used to say, these religious people, they just think they're doing it because they're going to go to heaven. They're just selfish like everybody else. So this one wants a shidduch and this one wants to go to heaven, but they're doing it for themselves. No, says the Alter Rebbe, no, they're not doing it. The tzaddik Gomor, he's not doing it for himself. He's just doing it for the sake of Hashem. Why would he do it for himself? Because the soul, he says here, the soul naturally thirsts to be connected to God. And when you're thirsty, you want to drink. And Torah is compared to water. So if you're thirsty, there he goes, Esther Baylor. You're thirsty, you drink. It's normal. And if a person is thirsty for God, he learns Torah. So the prophet says to the Jewish people, you're thirsty, go to the water. Don't complain. You're thirsty for God, learn Torah. Hashem is in the Torah. Hashem is in the Torah. Learn Torah. Okay, that's a very nice attitude, but it's still not the master of ascent. The master of ascent does not learn just because he's thirsty. That's also selfish. He doesn't learn because he's thirsty. He learns because it's Hashem's Torah. It's what Hashem wants. He doesn't do it in order to cling to Hashem. To satisfy, to quench his thirst for Hashem. Hashem. Turn the page, 160. Like the prophet Yeshaya says, if the Jewish people are thirsty, let them learn Torah. That will quench their thirst for God. Is explained elsewhere. Bottom of page 160. And here comes a very powerful metaphor. Because until now we learned way back in chapter 5, for those of you who've been with us since the beginning of the year, some of you are doing it for the second time round even, that a person should learn Torah for the sake of being connected to God because it's God's Torah. But like I just said, that there's an element of selfishness in that. You with me, Chanabina? There's an element of selfishness in that, even though that's called learning for its own sake, learning Torah for its own sake. The Alter Rebbe now goes to a deeper level altogether. He says, I'm not learning on that level. I'm learning, like it says here, and quoting the Zohar, from that part of the Zohar called the Faithful Shepherd. And it says there, like a son will do anything for the sake of his parents, because he loves them more than he loves his own life, more than he loves his nefesh, his ruach, or his neshama, and he'll even give up his life in order to save his mother and his father when they are in danger. His life is not as valuable to him as his love of his parents. So this is a deeper level of learning Torah, not because you want to be connected to God, just because you love Hashem so much that it can't be otherwise. And your life is not worth anything. The only thing that's worth something is Hashem, that you love him so much, and that's why you learn. And that's we're going to leave off on that note. That is what Lag BaOmer is all about. This is the great love of Hashem that is revealed on Lag BaOmer, and that's why, because of this tremendous feeling, that's the inner meaning and feeling of Lag BaOmer, that's why 2,000 years after Rabbi Shimon passed away, everybody comes on his yahrzeit to dance and celebrate the great aliyah of his neshama on the day that his life completed its whole purpose. And he said, this is the day of my greatest celebration, when he learned Torah on the last day of his life on a level that he had never, ever achieved before. And he said, everybody should celebrate together with me on this day. That's the meaning of the great love of Rabbi Chia, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Lag BaOmer. So some say he was born on Shavuos. There's another version, just like Moshe Rabbeinu and other great tzaddikim, like the Mittler Rebbe, were the day they pass away is the same day that they are born. So according to that, maybe it could be Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on the day he was born, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, maybe he also passed away on the day that he was born. Rachel, Sarah, Esther Bela, Chanabina, Michal. Chana was on Zoom. Danny is here. Ariel, Leora, Vera. Hello, Vera. Thank you, everybody. Happy.
Thank you, Rabbi Pape.
And you know, there's a comparison that's made. The comparison that's made between the way the Jews received the Torah at Mount Sinai and the way we receive it on Shavuos. Because before the Jews heard Hashem speak at Mount Sinai, they saw Hashem come down on the mountain. They saw Hashem. He was physically revealed, but was never revealed to anybody at any other time in history. So they saw the essence of God, and then they heard about it. Then they heard the Ten Commandments. So similarly, before Shavuos, when we receive the Torah in its revealed form, we have the revelation of the inner aspect of the Torah on Lag BaOmer, because Rabbi Shimon was one who revealed that. Rabbi Shimon revealed what we saw at Mount Sinai, the secrets, the mystical essence of God that's in the Torah. We're meeting tomorrow? Yes, that's our last class before Lag BaOmer. No class on Friday.